Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Real Fit Pros. It's your boy, Jonathan. And before we get into our show today, I need you to do me a favor. Hit the 5-star review, subscribe, comment, do all the things that help us get this message out in front of more Fit Pros. We're on a mission to help Fit Pros get paid what they're worth, and every 5-star review counts and you matter. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the baton off to my PRC, Mark, the Fitness Ninja Zalmanoff. And we have a special guest as well.
What's up, homie? Thank you, sir. Another great day here in Fit Pro land. Summer's coming. Weather's warming up. People are starting to realize they got that COVID-19 still hanging around their midsection. So
like the COVID-20, round it up.
Good time to be in the fitness realm. So yes, we do. We have a very special guest today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and then we'll turn it over to him as well. So this young man grew up extremely overweight. Doctor told him he wouldn't make it to 30, which that's a punch in the gut for sure. Literally and figuratively. How about that? He started to take his life seriously and get healthier really by any means necessary. And it was a dream of his to help others lose weight and keep it off like he was able to do for himself. And coincidentally, he wanted to get paid for it, which is always kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you know, this is interesting. So, you know, he said he didn't think it could happen until the day that it did. And I think that's indicative of a lot of us when we get into business is we never quite know for sure if it's going to work until it works. And then once you know it works once, you can do it 1,000 times. And, you know, now he wakes up every day with a purpose to serve people, which is extremely satisfying and fulfilling to him. So ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for Alex Solomin. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
So as you were informed previously, we always like to kick these things off with a good story. So what you got for us, man?
So this is pretty embarrassing. Way back in the day, so I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", and back in the day, I used to be 365. And around that time, I used to play football, right? I used to use that as an excuse to get out of class. But we had what I remember being a bench press competition for the kids. I was like 16, 17. And I was so embarrassed to do that bench press competition because I was so like scared. Like I'm the biggest guy there by far. And I was so terrified of just laying on that bench and just bench pressing because I knew that I had doubt in myself. I knew that I was very, very weak. I was very overweight. So I made some, BS excuse to my coach. And I told him, I forgot what I told him, but it was like some lame excuse that he knew was a lie. I'm like, I can't do this today because I don't like my dog is stuck at home or something like that. I had no dog, and I got out of it because I was so terrified and embarrassed of just laying on that bench and just being crushed by the weight. More importantly, because I was the biggest guy there, so I just made a fool out of myself. And I just told him like I gotta go, for whatever reason. And that was the most embarrassing thing I've ever previously had to do before.
Oh man! So when did you actually go bench?
When did I go bench? Probably not for a few years after that. I left the football team. My grades started flunking. I was skipping schools, a whole bunch of mess. But it took me a few years to actually get that kick in the ass and start taking my life on a better direction because it was either literally do or die. And I'm like, well, I want to live past 30. Maybe have some kids later on, see what life is about. And if I keep going down this path, I won't experience anything, so it's kind of like get my shit together.
Yeah, man. So let's do this. So let's get our listeners informed a little bit. Tell us where you are. Tell us a little bit about the business structure that you currently run and how you got to this place.
So I'm in Queens, New York, originally from Brooklyn, and I run a weight loss coaching business. Originally, should I start from way back in the day?
Wherever you want, man.
So I was working a full-time job for quite a few years, and I was trying to get this business off the ground because I knew that there was something here, right? I knew that I had the passion for it. I knew that there's a very high ceiling for this, right? So I'm like, well, let me start coaching people. So I started doing very, very low ticket. I think it was like $80 a month or something, because I felt like that was reasonable, right? But what ended up happening is I ended up burning myself out tremendously because I was pouring into my clients, checking in on them, babysitting them for something that, if I was to break it down, the amount of time I gave to them, it was, I don't know, maybe less than $5 an hour or something like that.
Yep.
So I'm like, I can't sustain this. This is not scalable. I'm burning myself out. I hate this. And I quit. But now I'm doing much higher ticket. I have rules, expectations of my clients. I don't do babysitting. That's just what I call it, because I feel like they should, know rules and boundaries, because I'm not a dick as far as a person, but I feel like that is something that everybody should have, rules and expectations of their clients, because they have to know that you will not be searching for them. They have to do the check-ins with you. And that helps me a lot. Now I do group coaching. I started out doing one-on-one, but as I wanted to scale, I knew that I had to go on a group coaching route, right? And that's where I'm at now. And I love what I'm doing. I'm a lot less burnt out. A lot more options that are opened up for me, a lot more doors, work remotely, all that stuff.
That's awesome, man. So I think what's really cool is, when you shared that first story, when we first started with everything, about that mindset of the fear of putting yourself out there. In this case, it was the bench press, but I know you and I have had conversations outside of this that, led you to eventually starting your own business, to now you're going full time, then you've grown a group. If you don't mind, man, could you kind of share a little bit of that mindset shift process that you've gone through, the reach to evolution of where you're at now? Because I find it fascinating.
Great question. The mindset shift is knowing that you don't know, knowing that you have to take the leap. You have to make the leap in any way that you can, whether it's hiring a mentor, whether it's taking a step back and realize that you don't know shit. You have to learn from somebody, because people always say that hiring mentors or learning from coaches, it's not for them, but they end up being in the same place they were 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year. They never changed. So you have to, if you want to get somewhere where somebody else is, you have to do what they've done. Stop guessing. Stop thinking that, oh, well, I'll just watch videos on YouTube, or I will buy this book and I will read it. I will keep myself accountable and I'll get exactly where they are and I will save money. It's bullshit. Like, maybe a few people are successful with that, but 99% of people, they are not. You have to bet on yourself, know that you don't know what you're doing. And for me personally, I guess I got a little diverted from the question. The mindset shift was betting on myself, and going from that part-time to full-time was just like leaving my job was the hardest part ever, hardest decision ever. And I had to bet on myself to get there. And, you just got to bet on yourself, man. It's know that you don't know, I guess.
So great insight, man. What would be your advice for someone that's working a job, but their goal is to go into, whether it's online or in-person coaching, but they want to go full time? I know you and I have a very similar story, because I did the same thing. Mark was a little bit, I'm jumping off the cliff. I'm gonna build my machine because I don't want to work for nobody.
Yeah. See, I didn't
shit out of that, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't know anything at all.
Yeah,
I didn't know better. I didn't know worse. I just didn't know. I had zero knowledge.
So yeah, man, if you want to share like that process you went through, and like, when did you know, and what were the things that you did, I think that'd be awesome for our audience here.
So how it transitioned from doing this, maybe, or how I just started doing this, is I worked crazy hours. I mean, 60 to 70 hours per week was my average. That's like standard. And finding time doing what I actually want to do while doing that, working a full-time job, was very difficult. And I read a lot of books that talked about this, watched a lot of podcasts, videos, whatever. And what worked for me, where I picked up on, is any free time that I had, whether it's on a break, whether it's at work where I'm not doing anything, whether it's at home after my shift, before my shift, whatever free time it is for you, build your craft, right? Get one client, give that client as much as you can give them, with limits, of course, but start spending any free time that you have working on what you want to achieve. If it's 30 minutes a day, great. 30 minutes a day is multiple hours per week, right? Figure out what you want to achieve and take very tiny steps in the free time that you have to start building that momentum, start building the steps, the systems, the mindset that you will need to transition into more and more and scale it, right? What I did personally was, like I just said, any free time that I had, I spent working on the business, whether it was as simple as crossing the fear of posting on Facebook. That stopped me dead in my tracks for about 3 years plus. I was deadly scared of posting on Facebook to my personal friends. I'm like, why can't I do this? That's the first step. Maybe I spent a couple hours in the week changing my cover photo, whatever small steps it will take you to get to your dream or destination, as small as it is. Just work on it in the free time that you have, and then start building on that.
You see why I love this guy, Mark?
Yeah, I do actually. It's funny. So one of our mentors that John and I both work with, he always says small steps forward daily.
Mm-hmm.
And, we so often get caught up in the big stuff, but the big stuff happens because the small stuff happens consistently. So I love that you mentioned that. But here's what I want to know is, there's so many people that John and I work with and that we talk to that don't grasp that concept of what you just said. Hey, you got some spare time, like work on it, even if it's 30 minutes a day. Like, that's a level of discipline that most people don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So where did that come from? Did that come from you knowing you wanted to pursue this? Did that come from somewhere way back in your childhood? Because I find that very difficult for a lot of people to grasp a hold of, especially when you're working 60, 70 hours a week. Because most people will go, oh man, I've worked so much, I'm so tired. I deserve to watch this show, or I deserve to, do whatever that doesn't move their life forward at all. And then they're in that same spot over and over again. So where do you think that discipline came from initially?
Well, I'm all about consistency, and it started from weight loss, right? I think that's where it started from, honestly, because I've had plateaus in weight loss, I've had crazy ups and downs, but consistency is what got me to my ideal weight, or my goal weight, whatever it is. And the discipline was built through that. And I understood quickly, from trying to do too many things without focusing on one, led me to burning out. I can't speak today. To burning out and not being focused on what I need to accomplish that day. So I used to play tons and tons of video games back in the day. And I consistently play video games. Out of a drop of a dime, I stopped playing them. My attention was focused to getting better at the gym or losing weight, right? My mindset changed to my new goals. And as soon as the consistency transferred to this, because I knew that just as I had to cook food ahead of time, that was my main focus. Now I had to work on this one step with any free time that I have. Like, the consistency transferred through fitness into business. As different as they are, from a high level point of view, they're very similar in the things that will get you results. Like, baby steps for me is what I feel to be the most important thing. Baby steps in the right direction. It doesn't matter what that direction is, as long as the end goal, what your end goal is. Just take the baby steps every single day and get better every single day than you were yesterday, right? Whatever it is for you.
It's funny you mention that, man. Me and Mark preach all the time, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I believe that everything you need to know in life is in the Karate Kid. That's my personal belief. I'm trying to live my life. Because it's echoed the whole time, like kung fu's in everything we do, you know.
Yeah.
So to hear you share the disciplines and the behaviors you learned through your weight loss journey, which by the way, guys, if you're not watching the video, Alex is fucking jacked now. So you never would do that unless he was sharing the story with you. But to see that translate into business and go, dude, these are exactly the same things. They're different activities, but they're the same behaviors. Dude, just makes you a rock star, dude. And that's why it's been so fucking cool to watch you just go in and
Thank you.
get to the level that you're at. So I'm a fan, man. I've been, just
Thank you so much.
Me and Alex have talked on the wonderful internet for the last year or so. So I've been able to watch this journey, and dude, I'm just glad to have you on the show. So that's my fan moment.
Yeah, and we
much.
say it all the time, success leaves clues. So, if you are a fitness professional listening to this, I hope you caught all of that, because it's not just about his personal journey, and it's not just about his business journey. It's about all of it and how it all goes in line with each other, which is so fun. But it's just the daily disciplines. And, I know, look, I've been coaching for 19 years, and I know I overcomplicated the shit out of everything at some point. And when I finally realized to just dumb it all down a little bit for myself and my clients, we all got better results. And so I think sometimes we just have to learn that personally and actually see it in play and go, oh, I'm an idiot. But again, John and I have another mentor, Mr. Stewman, who is a master at simplifying the complicated and, pinpointing those simple solutions to things that you've racked your brains about for 6 weeks. And he's like, oh, why don't you just do this? And you're like, oh, all right.
Can't be that simple. I'm smart. It can't be simple. That means I'm not as smart as I think I am.
So again, as simple as, oh, I have 30 minutes of free time. Let me work on my business right now. I mean, that's huge. And again, Alex, you said it, like, it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but if you do that every day, in a month, you've worked for days. You've amassed so much time in what you're trying to master, and it makes a huge difference. And that's why you are where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. 30 minutes, an hour here and there, it adds up tremendously over time. And what I also found to work is people tend to spend extra time on things that they shouldn't be spending time on, which is, let's say they have something that works good enough and they want to make it better for no reason, because they want to make it better when it works good enough in the first place. And that was my trap too. I felt like I had to make different things better. Maybe something was working good enough for me to get client acquisition or get sales, whatever it was. I thought maybe I can make this better when there's a whole different part that I need to focus on more. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's my opinion. Until you got all your shit figured out and you have some free time that you want to fine tune something, then do it. But if something's working good enough, you shouldn't really spend time on it, because you can spend that time somewhere else where you need a lot more improvement on.
So I want to piggyback off that with a question. You already kind of talked about it. What would be the 3 pieces of advice that you would give someone that's currently trying to go on this path to building their online, from lessons that you learned going through this? Because as you kind of pointed, there's a lot of things you can focus on. What would you say to the big 3 for the lessons that you had going through that process for someone starting out?
Mm-hmm. Well, are they currently working a full-time job?
Yeah, they're transitioning. So we have a lot of people that follow us in terms of like, hey, I want to build this, but like, it's too much. I don't know what to do. So what would be those 3 lessons you had? They'd like, hey, here's the 3 things I'd recommend that you do.
Stop thinking that you're not good enough to give people advice. That was my biggest struggle at first, because I did a lot of self-comparison to others. I've seen people more shredded than me, people bigger than me, people that knew more than me, know more than me. And I'm like, well, I'm not good enough, right? And that's what stopped me for a very long time, right? I was afraid, point blank. I'm like, why am I going to put this information out there? Somebody else is doing that too, or they're doing it better than me. And they're doing their posts with a lot of information, these crazy infographics. I'm here with my little post, I'm not good enough. So then I had to get over that fear and just start putting stuff out there. things that I knew to be right. Doesn't matter how small it was. Stop feeling that you're not good enough to share information that you know, because somebody out there will resonate with what you are saying so much than somebody else's, right? They will just not fall in love with you, but they will just love your content. They will fall, they not fall, but they will just resonate so much with what you're trying to say. So just don't be afraid of crossing that first step and just trying to teach people what you know, because you know enough, And if I knew this exact thing before, I probably would have started many, many years earlier. So that's the first thing. The second one is do something today that will make your business better, no matter how small it is. Maybe it's as small as starting to post on Facebook when you've never posted on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever it was. Just start getting into the habit. People say you got to post every day. No, post once a week, but consistently. Post twice a week, but consistently. Do whatever works for you so you can get that traction going. People love to say you got to post twice a day on this platform, that platform. Your attention gets diverted, you get distracted. Just focus on one platform. Make a schedule that will work best for you, but so you can keep that consistency going day in, week out. Because that consistency will add up over time to the point where now you can do 2 posts a week. Now you can do 3 posts a week. Now it's every day, whatever works for you, So find that consistency for you. And the last step is, don't overcomplicate it, I guess, because you may think that you need all these crazy systems. You may think that you need this crazy, amazing way to speak to people, this crazy new fad messaging framework. Maybe it's this new hot post blueprint that you got to follow. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Just do the small steps that are good enough to get in the direction that you want to go into. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Just do something small today that will just push you along towards your way to be where you want to be.
Dude, I love it. And I'm going to beat Mark to the punch because I know he's ready to say this, but it's branded into my mind. As Mark always says, what would it look like if it was simple?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
And Thomas Keenan, I know you listen to these things, so I know you're already loving this because this is right up your alleyway. And by the way, Alex, Thomas is from New York as well. He just moved down to Texas from Long Island last year.
Good choice.
So y'all about the same size. Y'all both big boys.
Yeah. He's been 6'4" and massive in the gym too. So
what are they feeding you guys up there? Jesus.
Hey,
that's a good move.
Emperor Cuomo must be good for something. I don't know. So Alex, tell us what's next. You mentioned before we got on this about traveling, moving, and all that stuff. So tell us what you have in store for your future.
Freedom. I think it's freedom to do things that I couldn't do before. Like I had 2 weeks, little details, but I had 2 weeks of vacation for the entire year, right? And that sucked. I went on maybe 2 vacations per year if I was lucky, or 1 long one, and it's a privilege to go on vacation. Not many people get a chance to do that in the first place, speaking from personal experience, my parents, stuff like that. It is nice, but it would be nicer to make that a little longer, so having the freedom to make my own time frame for vacations would be awesome. But now, I plan to move to the next near future to Greece with my wife because she's from there and I fell in love with it. And that's a choice I would not even be able to think about had I not done the baby steps that would got me to this point, right? It was always up in a very far away dream. Maybe one day it'd be awesome when I retire to move down here. Maybe 55 or 60, 65, whatever it is, but that would be awesome once I'm there in 20 plus years. But now in such a short period of time, that faraway dream is like, right, like I don't want to make this like a fairy tale or something, because it's not, because this is like reality.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to think about making these decisions today if I didn't spend 30 minutes on a Tuesday, 8 p.m., working on something, whatever it was, to make my business better. If I didn't take my lunch break instead of watching Hulu or YouTube at work, instead of that, I was working on maybe talking to leads. Maybe I was trying to get leads. Maybe it was as simple as making a stupid story, you know? Oh, are you making stories? Look at this guy. Yeah, I'm making stories, because it all adds up over time, you know? And all these things, you know, allow me to make the decision to allow me to have the freedom of making that choice if I want to make it today. Because right now I can do that 100%.
I wish, for you listening, I wish you could see John and I just shaking our head and cheesing the whole time he's talking about this.
I'm fired up, baby.
I know.
Let's go.
That's so awesome. And you know, you said it, man, freedom. I mean, isn't that what we all really want? You know, the money,
Yeah.
the money's great and we need the money. It's a vehicle, but most of us really just want to be able to do what we want to do and live a joyful life. And you know, to go from working a job that you probably didn't like that much, working a ton of hours, to not just following your passion, but really making a legitimate business out of it and affording you the ability to really do what you want now. It's incredible, man. So, you know, kudos to you for all those small steps daily, in the 30 minutes here and the hour here, because people can't see what happens until it does, like you said earlier. And so it's so cool to see people win like this. I fucking love it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you know, people love to make excuses of I work too much, I have no time. I'm not saying it's not true. It definitely is true, but I guarantee you, if you just take a step back and look at your week and see the little holes of free time that you have, if you plug those holes with something that will make your business better, it will add up over time, guaranteed. It can't not work, you know?
Amen to that. All right, so we're gonna land this plane here. So I got a few fun little questions for you. All right, first one up. What is your favorite breakfast bread?
Breakfast bread. Does French toast count?
Yeah, hell yeah, it does.
Damn right.
My man. I love me some French toast. My sister's birthday was yesterday, and she posted a picture of like this Nutella banana French toast. And I'm on 75 hard right now, so I'm like just drooling.
It sounds delicious.
Oh my gosh. All right, what's your workout song? Like the song when you need to get hyped up. Like what's the song for you?
Band called Gojira, song called Where Dragons Dwell.
The heavy stuff.
It's all right.
No idea what that is. I have to go.
I think I do.
Nice.
Maybe we can like splice it in here or something.
Yeah.
John, you can have Renee.
Facebook would just take it down like they do everything.
100%.
Right. All right. And finally, if you had a billboard that you could put a message on for everyone to see, what would you put on that billboard?
It's actually what I posted today on my Facebook page, and it's when you feel like quitting, remember why you started.
Oh, I love that one.
That's a good one for you. It's a real good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Awesome, man. Well, dude, you have been such a pleasure to have on this show. We really appreciate you sharing your story and just being open about the lessons. And again, if you're a fitness professional, really anybody, honestly, trying to do anything in life, you know, there's a lot of wisdom that Alex shared with us today. And I hope you guys took note of that. Tell the people where they can follow you, find out more about what you do and all that good stuff.
So I only use 2 platforms, Facebook and Instagram. It's alex.solomin on Instagram, same thing on Facebook. That's where I do most of my outreach, my engagement, that kind of stuff.
Excellent. Well, again, you guys, thank you so much for listening. If you like this thing, go do all the things, subscribe and review, and let us know what you thought about Alex as well. I'm sure he'd appreciate the feedback. We'll put his links in the show notes. And what else you got, John?
And lastly, be like Alex and go get what you worth, baby. Yeah. Damn good show.
Damn good.
Damn good.